Hey kids, do you like Arcwing so much that you wish every mission would be an Arcwing mission? Well, have I got news for you. What's going on, everybody? BouseFeenux here with a brand new Warframe video, and today we're taking a look at the much hyped, many times teased, brand new Warframe Titania, and I've got one question. Is she a gimmick or a godsend? Let's find out. If you've been out of the loop lately, you should know that Titania is a brand new Warframe released with the Silver Grove update, which is part 3 of 4 new updates DE plans to roll out for update 19. She was supposed to come with Spectres of the Rail, but it was decided that she needed her own little piece of the update pie. Now, I've spent a few hours playing with her and testing different builds, and from my current impressions so far, I'm not overly impressed with this new addition. A lot of her abilities seem fairly redundant, and I'm not really a huge fan of the awkward normal mission Arcwing mode thing that she's got going on. Regardless, I thought it was still important to cover her in detail and give you guys as much info on her as possible so you can make your own assumptions. First, to get Titania, you'll need to initiate a quest from the New Locus Syndicate room located on any relay. I haven't done this quest yet, and when I do, I'll probably make a guide for it, but from what my friends tell me, the quest is fairly lackluster and the general player base seems to agree with that sentiment. I'll hold off on my judgment until I actually do it for myself, but from what I've heard, the prospects aren't promising. So enough of the overview, let's take a look at Titania's abilities so we can get an idea of what she's actually capable of. Her first ability is Spellbind, and when cast, it suspends enemies helplessly in the air and they drop their weapons. Additionally, nearby party members will become immune to status effects like Slash Procs and Toxin. This skill is helpful for keeping groups of enemies out of the fight and keeping status procs off of your teammates. This ability is affected by power range and power duration. Titania's second ability is Tribute. Now, this is an interesting ability, and you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I think this is one of the only abilities in the game that relies on RNG. Basically, how it works is that when cast, Titania literally blasts the soul out of an enemy, causing it to leave one of 4 buffs behind. You have Dust, which reduces enemy accuracy, Entangle, which slows enemy movement, Thorns, which reflects damage back at your attackers, and Full Moon, which grants your companions increased damage. All of these buffs are stackable, meaning that you can grab them from enemies multiple times. As a final note, this isn't on the wiki, but from the tests that I've done, it seems like certain types of enemies drop certain buffs, and that it isn't entirely RNG based like some would have you believe. Though, keep in mind, I haven't confirmed this 100% yet. Additionally, you should know that this ability is affected by power range, power strength, and power duration. Moving on though, Titania's third ability is Lantern. When cast, Lantern suspends an enemy helplessly in the air, much like Spellbind does. The only difference is that this one enemy is affected, and they're surrounded by Titania's Razorflies. Enemies near their afflicted buddy will follow the suspended target blindly, all the while being attacked by Razorflies when they get too close. Additionally, the suspended target can't be damaged, and when the ability timer is up, he explodes, dealing damage in a radius around him. This ability is affected by power range, strength, and duration. Titania's last ability is Razor Wing. When cast, this ability turns Titania into a tiny Arcwing fairy of mass destruction. In this form, Titania brandishes 2 machine pistols and a heavy sword, and gains a passive 50% bonus to evasion, which admittedly makes a lot of sense due to her small size. Additionally, Titania also gains a small brigade of Razorflies that follow her around dealing damage, much like Itzel's number 4 ability. On top of all this, she can still use all of her abilities in this form. Titania's weapons in this mode are affected by power strength and primary and melee damage mods respectively. The Razorflies are affected by power strength. So how do you play her? What do you mod for? Let's get into the builds I put together for Titania to answer those questions, but first, you should know that these are my builds reflected by my playstyle. If you don't agree with them, that's fine and you can use your own build. This was just my interpretation of her abilities. Anyway, the first build we're looking at here is more of a crowd control support build that eschews power strength in favor of maximum range and high duration. It was designed to keep as many enemies out of the fight for as long as possible, and I feel like it does that pretty well. With this build, you'll be using Titania's number 1 and number 3 abilities often. This build is going to be better for longer endurance type missions like defense or interception, where the objective isn't so much to kill things, but to survive. Moving on to the second build, you can see by the stats that we've decided to add a lot more power strength. This greatly improves Titania's number 4 ability and allows the razor flies from her number 3 to do more damage. I was actually pretty impressed with the damage output of this build on enemies level 70 and below, and I found the build to be very useful in quicker missions like exterminates or survivals where you aren't staying for too long. So we've covered the builds, overview, and abilities of this Warframe. Now let's answer the question I asked at the beginning of this video. Is she Gimmick or Godsend? Good or bad? To be totally honest with you, it's hard to tell right now after only a few hours of playtime, but my initial impressions are leaning towards Gimmick. I'm not a huge fan of the reused old Arcwing controls, and it feels really weird to use her in this form in normal missions. On top of that, I feel like Titania's first 3 powers could have been a little more condensed. They feel really redundant, and while the buffs from her number 2 are a neat little touch, when you boil it down, they are all very similar. You have number 1, throw dudes into the air. Number 2, throw one dude into the air and get a buff. And number 3, throw one dude into the air while others follow and take damage over time. Like I said though, these are just my initial impressions after a few hours of playtime. I'll need to use her a lot more to decide whether or not she has any kind of staying power as a popular go-to Warframe. After all, what do I know? I've only been playing the game for 2 years and making content for a year and a half. But that aside, I urge you to check this frame out for yourself and form your own opinion. No one knows your tastes in Warframe and your playstyle better than you do. But that's gonna do it for me today, ladies and gentlemen. I worked really hard on this video and I'm very proud of it, so if you enjoyed it or found it helpful, consider supporting this video with a like down below and share it with your friends. Additionally, if you're new here, consider subscribing. If I get enough subscribers, maybe I can afford to buy one of Tactical Potato's awesome new t-shirts. Until next time though, I'm BouseFeenux. I'll see you guys at the next video, and as always, thank you so much for watching.